Wonderful people, welcome to the Power Impact Series show, proudly brought to you by the African Seasoned Speakers Network. Hey, were you here last week? Yes, it was another wonderful time, and I'm promising you of today's episode. If you are the only one online now, do you know what I would love you to do? Kindly share the link. Let others join in because, hey, today we are getting into the palace. We are getting into royalhood today, and you wouldn't want to miss today's episode. So you know what? Get the link, share it, and let others also join us for this wonderful episode that we have today. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are watching us from. My name is Ambassador Benjamin Oswanson, and it is always a pleasure having you here on the Power Impact series. And today, I just can't wait because there are a lot of surprises going to spring for today on this episode. So before we do that, and before we go on again, I just want to do a quick commercial break. I'll take my first commercials, and right after, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to introduce to you our guest for today. But before we do, get into the chat area. Let me know who is online with me. Let me know who is joining me, and let me know where you are joining me from. And we kickstart our conversation. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Share the link.
Need a spark to kickstart your innovation? Looking for thoughts and talks to get things moving? Wondering how to navigate a future full of change and uncertainty? With the eye-opening stories of digital disruption, extreme customer centricity, organizational innovation, and global shift, our collective of speakers, MCs, and moderators will shift your perspective. Meet our speakers. For booking and interviews, contact us on 0246 054092 or send us a mail info.abscessnet@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all social media channels at AbscessNet Global, African Seasoned Speakers Network, influencing the next generation of Africans.
Influencing the next generation of Africans, and that is all we stand to gain, or what we stand for, and that's why we are here today. So as I said, get into the chat area. Let me know who is online with me. Let me know who is online. Let me know where you are joining me from. And then, as we say, share the link. Share the link. Let others also benefit from what we're doing today or what we're going to do today. So get into the chat area. Let me know who is online with me, and let me know where you are joining me from. Share the link as well. It's going to be a wonderful journey today. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, Kwame, all the way from Ghana. Yes, it's going to be an awesome evening. I like it. I'm liking the vibe and then the energy in the house already. Yes, it's going to be a wonderful time. Keep it coming. Share the page. Let others also join. All right, now let's go straight into introducing our guest for today. I'll just make it brief and we go. Right. His Royal Majesty Gerard Marine Messina came to power in 2018 after the passing of his father. I'm very careful with names. Nkukuma Roberts Bekele Mayeni. As the crown prince, naturally he assumed his inheritance as the Nkukuma king of Imo Para community in the central region of Republic of Cameroon, which is located in Central Africa. The community consists of 7,000 Ito Beti people who are a subgroup of the Ikambeti, which is the largest ethnic group in the Central African region that spans from Cameroon to the Republic of Congo, including Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. His Royal Majesty Gerard Marie Messina, who accepts traditional values over globalization. Because of these views, he was appointed as a civil status officer by the Cameroon government, which is a local community mayor with all powers vested to celebrate marriages and issue birth certificate as well as death certificate. He works as an associate professor in the Department of African Literature and Civilization at the University of Yaoundé in Cameroon. As of January 1, 2023, he became a member of the board of directors for the African Roots and Heritage Foundation based in Detroit. Being inspired, he highly encouraged ARHF to open an office in Cameroon. Because of ARHF's effort to reconnect Africans to the diaspora, to Africans on the continent, he witnessed a miraculous journey of return to Africa from Professor Anita Diop. This reconnection of African Americans to Africa motivated an introspection to search out and know how these people who look like himself and other Africans, possibly through long lost relatives, through their journeying around the world, as he walked towards the African Renaissance and common ancestors, says that we cannot go forward until those in the diaspora are reclaimed. And that is one of his philosophies he shares as well. Has already communicated with more American or African Americans. He has heard and received a lot of requests that people are asking that they come together and help with the renaissance and the building of Africa and pushing forward the agenda of getting people back to their roots. Through the DNA test, African Americans can now identify their village, their people, the DNA codes, cultures, and traditions, and be given access to settle back home without losing of any property in the diaspora. This is the alliance that our guest is offering to DNA tested Cameroonians all over the world and wherever they find themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready, because I am ready, we want to invite for the very first time onto the Power Impact series no other person than His Royal Majesty. His Royal Majesty joining us for the very first time, Gerard Marie Messina, who is joining us for the very first time on the Power Impact series, proudly brought to you by the African Seasoned Speakers Network. And you know the surprise I have for you today too. Not only do we have His Royal Majesty in the house, but also a surprise guest as well. So stick around, don't go anywhere. All I need you to do is share the link, let others also join, and then be part of today's conversation. We're having a wonderful conversation today, a wonderful topic, and it is going to be wonderful. Let me feel the vibe in the chat area. His Royal Majesty is going to join us in some few minutes time, in some few seconds. So don't go anywhere. Just join us. Just be on board. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Be with us. Share the link. Let me know who is joining me online, who is online with me, and let's keep the communication going, because today is going to be a wonderful time. And yes, just stick around, don't go anywhere. I'll be with you shortly, right after this commercial.
Need a spark to kickstart your innovation? Looking for thought and talks to get things moving? Wondering how to navigate a future full of change and uncertainty? With the eye-opening stories of digital disruption, extreme customer centricity, organizational innovation, and global shift, our collective of speakers, MCs, and moderators will shift your perspective. Meet our speakers. For booking and interviews, contact us on 0246 054092 or send us a mail info.accessnet@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all social media channels at AccessNet Global, African Seasoned Speakers Network, influencing the next generation of Africans.
Right, influencing the next generation of Africans, and that's what we seek to do. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome for the very first time onto the Power Impact series show no other person than King Professor Gerard Marie Messina joining us for the very first time, and we want to give him a round of applause. Yay! Hello, how are you, His Royal Majesty?
I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm really good and happy to be part of you. It is really wonderful to be connected with this magnificent platform.
Thank you so much for also coming onto this platform. Today we are speaking with the Royal Majesty, so we're going to be very, very careful with how we're going to talk and how we're talking. So, hey. All right. So, not only do I have here His Royal Majesty, but also a wonderful person who has been on the platform before. This is a second time of coming onto the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome also onto the platform today, Professor Anita Maridio.
Hello, Ambassador Benjamin. It's good to see you again.
Right. It's good to see you too. How have you been?
I've been fine. We've been on a very intense schedule, but we've been covering a lot of road. And I love your energy and intensity. It's just awesome.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm with the Royal Majesty, and then probably the sister. So it's going to be a wonderful time. So to our king, I read a little bit about you, but since you are here, we want to hear more about you. Want to know who really is His Royal Majesty.
Are you getting?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
We're having some technical difficulties. We cannot hear you.
Hello?
Your voice is going in and out.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
No, we are not getting you very well.
Okay,
there are some technical problems.
All right, hold on. Yeah, viewers, we'll just visit this shortly. Yes. Okay.
It is better now.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah?
It sounds better now.
Good. All right, thank you so much, Jos Garcia saying, after a king, what more can we expect? All right, thank you, Joseph, all the way from Spain is giving us this shout out. Okay, greetings to the king. All right, yeah, greetings to His Royal Majesty today. All right, so we want to hear a little bit about the king himself. Now that we have the king in house, can we hear from the king? We read a little about the king, but we have the king in the house. We want to hear a little bit about the king.
Hello,
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. We are still having some technical challenges, but I don't know whether you can hear me well. And I will try to speak, and you will tell me if you can get me from this end. Can you get me from this end, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. As I said from the very commencement of the meeting, I'm really elated to be part of you. This is a wonderful platform that promotes the interests of the African continent. And I was opportune to be part of the follow-up for a good number of occasions. And I did like what you have been doing so far for the promotion of the image of Africa, addressing very important issues. And today, and given the peculiarity of the theme, the scrutiny, I believe we'll have good interactions. And I will humbly and modestly come up with some specific pieces of content as to light the global functioning of not only the African culture in general, but also more specifically, what can be done today to ensure that the necessary connections are established between African Americans as the lost sons and daughters of Africa and the African continent by bringing in the missing portions of their identity, the variable culture, which is missing in the identity of African Americans as the lost sons of Africa. And by reconnecting them with the continent, we have the responsibility at the level of the traditional kingship to let them get exactly what will be very important and absolutely necessary for them to gain back what is missing in their identity. As you do know very well, if you do not have a culture, it means fundamentally you do not have any identity. And identity is really a challenge that establishes the coherence of the psychological profile, the cultural profile, the social profile, as well as the economic and the political profile of any society.
All right, that's lovely. Yeah. Let me just try and get the people that are linking up here. Oh yes, someone say, I've heard the king speak. All right, you just heard the king speak. Yeah, that's true. You just heard the king speak. Stephen from South Africa says, hello, I can hear you, and I hope I can hear more today. Yeah. Okay. Let me read this one also from Jos. Jos is in Spain, but he is in Ghana. And he says, for someone like me that I work in Central Africa and West Africa, I really appreciate this effort to bring closer both sides of Africa. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, we want to hear from Professor Anita. Professor, how are you doing? Can you hear me, Prof? Hello? Professor, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Ken. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Unfortunately, I do not get you. I cannot get you back so far. There are still technical challenges which have to be properly addressed.
Can you hear me now? Because I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Not yet so far.
Wow.
Hello?
Wow. Okay, hello. I can hear you. I can still hear you clearly. I can hear you. Yeah, we can all hear you, Prof. We can all hear you. All the people online can hear you. We can all hear you, Prof. As well as His Royal Majesty. We can all hear you. Professor Anita, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, yes. I can hear you.
I cannot hear you back.
But I can hear you. I can hear you. We can all hear you. All of us online can hear you. Hello.
Okay, Ambassador Benjamin, we're having difficulties hearing you. So I think we can take a break and see if we can iron out these difficulties, because we're not getting you at all.
All right. So let's just do a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back shortly for that.
Need a spark to kickstart your innovation? Looking for thought and talks to get things moving? Wondering how to navigate a future full of change and uncertainty? With the eye-opening stories of digital disruption, extreme customer centricity, organizational innovation, and global shift, our collective of speakers, MCs, and moderators will shift your perspective. Meet our speakers. For booking and interviews, contact us on 0246 054092 or send us a mail info.accessnet@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all social media channels at AccessNet Global, African Seasoned Speakers Network, influencing the next generation of Africans.
Yeah, hello, wonderful people. We're trying to connect back with His Royal Majesty together with Professor Anita Diop. So please hang around, don't go anywhere. Let's keep chatting in the chat area, because everybody here hears. We are all hearing you. So please just give us some few minutes to just tackle this technical issue, and we'll be back shortly. Please don't go anywhere.
Yes, yes.
Right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking around. But whilst we wait for His Royal Majesty and then Professor Anita Diop to join us, I would just want to do a quick running through before they join us shortly. Let me see if I can hear. Hello, His Royal Majesty, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, that's good. Okay, so yeah, people, His Royal Majesty is back. So we're going to go straight to the point, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing today. And yeah, that is it. Right. Our topic for today is African Americans and Africans reconnecting their culture and traditions. Yes. So take us on, His Royal Majesty. Yeah, earlier on you were telling us a little bit about yourself, and then yes, our viewers online are happy to hear more about you. People are like, hey, today I am closer to the king. So it's good to be closer to the king. Right. So we read from your bio that you ascended the throne somewhere in 2018.
18, yeah.
Yes. How has it been from 2018 to now? How has your rulership been, or how has it been being on the throne?
My rulership has been so far very interesting and really productive, with a lot of social dividends, cultural dividends, and political dividends, as well as economic dividends. And I have to confess that initially, in my very large ethnic group, since I belong to the Ekambeti people community, a very large ethnic group of the Central African region, Ekambeti people in Cameroon, and the group spans from Cameroon to Congo via Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. And in the past, traditional governance used to be some sort of specific activity reserved or dedicated to those who were not educated people or learned people. And whenever it was about accessing the throne, they will rather think if you have been opportune to access a certain level of education exposure, as well as international activities, it will not, in fact, be your business. But before 2018, I started interacting as directed by the former king and with his collaborators, and I started interacting with them in some sort of called traditional training in culture, for me to be able to cope with the requirements and exigencies of the global issues that pertain to traditional governance. And by the time I was opportune to be trained, I did realize that it was absolutely necessary, without abandoning the fundamental cultural variables. It was somehow very important to take into account rules and principles of modern governance. So my rulership, my kingship is so far some sort of blend of fundamental variables of tradition in terms of culture and, of course, principles of modern governance that help me put in place a very, very effective team and I mean global mechanisms of governance, which so far granted me very important and positive results as far as social dividends are concerned, cultural dividends, political dividends, and economic dividends. So the community is better organized in all those different aspects. And if I may say something about the project in which we are working, I, as in my capacity as a university professor, I happened to meet Queen Professor Anita Diop within academic, specific academic activities, since she's a very vibrant propounder of African culture through the Americas, Africa, and other continents. And our views were totally convergent about the necessity within the framework of the African Roots and Heritage Foundation she created. Our views were totally convergent about the necessity to work within the perspective of helping our lost sons and daughters in the Americas who are really yearning and they are crying for some lost identity they should necessarily regain. And pondering on the issue, we did realize that if nothing is done in a very pragmatic and concrete way, we will still be theoretically complaining or helping them complain about their missed or lost identity without doing any practical thing, without taking any further step ahead to ensure that we can help them reconnect with their culture at the level of the African continents. And given that in the different kingdom, I mean, the different kingdom shepherdries and other traditional organizations, we can still, as it is the case in my community, decipher the real identity of the African continent through cultural manifestation, through cultural practices, and whatsoever can help them spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally reconnect with their continent. That's why I came over to meet our lost daughter and son within the framework of the Black History Month in the United States of America. And while interacting with them on the field, I can realize that the need is very, very important. They can have, to be very, very honest, a better economic situation, even a better political situation, since most of them are doing politically and economically well, even if, of course, the masses, I mean, the most important numbers are still striving hard while being confronted with economic challenges. But however, be them rich or moderately prosperous or in economic lack, the necessity has been well manifested for them to be reconnected with their tradition, with their culture, as for them to be totally complete in their identity. And they are really yearning, they are really crying, they are really crying about the necessity to do that. That is why in the different missions we have assigned to ourselves as well as to those who are part of the organization, it will be very important to trace or retrace back the global itinerary of slavery, not just for the necessary emotional shock that will help them really know who they are, but beyond the necessary emotional shock, they have to be reconnected with the different villages. And that's why in the global program, we have as one of the prominent stages, the DNA testing program. And once you have gone through the DNA testing program, and if the genes have revealed that you are from Cameroon, everything possible will be done for you to be directly reconnected to a specific village that reveal the content of your DNA. And if you are from Ghana, it will be exactly the same process. And since we have already very, very competent focal points like the ambassador, so it will be very good for them, even in terms of availability of facilitators. So it is what we have opted to do, and so far we are doing very, very well, and we are going on very, very smoothly.
Wow, this is brilliant. Yes, I mean, His Royal Majesty deserves a round of applause. Yes,
Bring that ass back. Like
you deserve a round of applause. This huge work you're doing, and then I love it because we are in the Black History Month, and it fits so well and sits so well. I'm so happy. Professor Adite Diop, what do you have to say about this DNA testing that is linking the people in the diaspora, not only to their country, but to their villages, to be reconnected to where their ancestors were?
My Jaeger, I greet you, and my DNA tested by the people of Cameroon. I had my DNA test done, so I'm evident that it can be done, and the connection is spiritual and very, very emotional. So offering this opportunity for everyone who so desires to simply reconnect with Africa is what we are doing. It is our vision. Well, actually, it's the vision of our ancestors that put this deep down inside of me to push it forward. Because if you notice the power structures in the world, there is a major paradigm shift in the making. And what the ancestors are saying to each and every one of us, no matter where we dwell, is that Africa must rise. And in order for Africa to rise, the lost daughters of Africa must rejoin in the rising, that we may rise as one. And this is what will please the ancestors. So the technology is there for us to do our testing. And for one notable Black History Month moment, the DNA testing was actually designed by an African American. So for those that's afraid that, they get my DNA and they're going to do this, that, and the other, well, they already have your DNA, to tell you honestly, and they've had it for such a very long time. So the thing is for us to do is to take it created by us, to use it for us. Do know that there's entities that will use it for other purposes that cannot allow us to stop the reconnection. We must reconnect to the motherland. And besides the DNA, the next step is to learn the language of the people from where you come from. That's very, very important to learn to say hello, my Yanga. And so me, I speak the tongues of my forefathers before they endured such a tragic event in our history called the Atlantic slave trade. So We're here today to reconnect African Americans to Africans, the cultures and traditions. We are here to debunk the myths that the Africans don't care about us and that the African Americans. No, we love one another. What we must do is bring an understanding and understand that divide and conquer was fed into all our psychological cells on either side of the Atlantic. We have young students before they embark into the Americans where their parents, co-workers, even the college professors will tell them, when you get to America, stay away from the African Americans. And so they build a negative stereotype in the mind of Africans when they come. And I witnessed it for myself in the city of Columbus, Ohio. That is where I started the African Roots Heritage Festival, where we brought 19 different African nations together. And the reason why we did it
Hello, Prof, I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, I'm losing Professor Anita.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yes. I was
Yes,
losing
I can hear you.
All right. So please go on. Yeah.
Okay. So the city of Columbus, Ohio, is very unique in that it has 35 nations of population of Africans from 35 different nations and populations of 10,000 or more. So unlike other cities with a huge population, people can get lost in the mix. But in Columbus, it's a small town, so no matter where you go, you're going to run into somebody from Nigeria, somebody from Somalia. And I had the experience when I worked for Franklin County that I ran into 7 different Africans from 7 different nations. So I had to take stock. What am I looking at? It was dropped in my heart to organize the African Roots Heritage Festival to bring us all together to share culture. And what I found is when I was young in the city of Detroit, the city was split. You had the white neighborhoods and you had the black neighborhoods. So you went to the black schools if you were black, and you went to the white schools if you were white. What I saw in Columbus, you had a mixture of all of those nations going to school together. So in kindergarten, they have 6 to a table. So those 6, Nigerians, South African, Somalia. So these people from the various countries are growing up together. For me, that signal a microcosm of unity. If we could capitalize it here in Columbus, we could be the microcosm of unity to the entire continent. So ever since that time, I have been really pushing to bring unity and to share culture. Why is it important to share culture? As a lost person from the transatlantic enslavement of our people, when you speak your native language, that reconnects me to my ancestors. And that is so important. So you have to share different things. And in my research, I found that there's so many different foods that we brought from Africa. Now they may be prepared slightly different, but the core component of the way that we prepare our foods, we can look directly at a specific country. Like in our case, my people come from South Carolina, and I had the opportunity to visit Angola, and they had a dish called funge, and that funge dish was collard greens and cornbread. And that is one of the southern dishes that you'll find in the United States. And that dish is prepared almost exact. So
Right.
this is how we share culture to re-identify ourselves and connect
Right.
with those on the continent for the building up of the African continent and people.
Wow. For the building of the African continent and people. Okay, to you. It's Royal Majesty. So how has the journey been so far as you are in the diaspora? How has it been? How the diasporans receive you? How's the reception be? Are they so okay when you meet them, when you're talking with them? Are they willing to, take the test and then find wherever they are in Africa? And are they willing to relocate or make a visit to their ancestral home? How has the reception been so far, His Royal Majesty?
The reception has been very, very positive so far. I have been warmly received and very, very solicited. And not only by very mature people, but also by the younger generations. And what is for me the most important thing, I have realized that if we do not really push forward and be very clear about the necessity to reconnect African Americans with the African continent in terms of the fundamental cultural assets, it will be very difficult. And we will be running the risk to have them lost what has been probably invested in terms of a political effort, in terms of economic effort by very committed, iconic African Americans. And we do know that with the Harlem Renaissance movement, some of the leaders, among which W.E.B. Du Bois, did a wonderful job by rebranding the image of what they call at the time Negroes. So Negro was a very pejorative term, but they successfully transform and give a new content by posing the problem to the problem of redefining the profile of what they call the new Negro. The new Negro as a very autonomous, a very independent, psychologically speaking, economically speaking, emotionally speaking, economically speaking, as well as politically speaking. So when I interact with them, I will naturally realize that they are Americans. If we do take into account the investment of the past by the iconic leaders I've just evoked. But the point is, the different challenges, political challenges, economic challenges, cultural challenges they are being confronted with tend to let them doubt about themselves in terms of who they are. And we should not forget, W.E.B. Du Bois posed the problem in those terms, while he was asking whether the Negro, I mean by Negro, the African Americans, is an American or rather a Negro. And the answer was quite clear. He is naturally an American because he was born on the American soil, and he's a Negro. By Negro, I mean the African Americans. And the problem is, he's an African American because his ancestors came from Africa, and that is where the most important part of the identity is lying. And by interacting with them, I happened to let them clearly see, and they are very, very motivated. Even those who didn't in the past, those who were not willing to take their DNA testing program, are opting now for the DNA testing program. And if I were also to underline a very important issue in the business, it is the new approach of what we call in the African Roots and Heritage Foundation, the new African Americanism. What is the new African Americanism? In the past, we do know Marcus Garvey did a very important work, but the very content of his global political proposal was the necessity to disconnect African Americans from the Americas and let them get back in a very frustrated and radical way to Africa without having any further intention to reconnect with the America, given the whole lot of frustration they happen to go through. But now we say African Americans are Americans, they are African Americans. But the problem is the African portion of the African American identity is missing. That is why reconnecting them with the continent, with their people, with their villages, for them to learn the languages or their fundamental languages is very, very important. And they are very, very receptive since the approach is not aiming at recommending them to lose the property they have already managed to gain by their commitment, their effort, their total engagement. They will maintain their property as Americans, as African Americans, but they have to regain what is missing, not only in terms of culture, but also in terms of portion of their soil for that practical contact. It means they will feel free to settle in Africa, spend a good number of months, get back to America. They will feel free to initiate economic projects with Africans and run businesses with African or among themselves from their continent, or spread their different activities. They expand the different activities they are already carrying out on the American continent. So it is very, very wonderful. I cannot efficiently describe what I'm living while interacting with them, but what I can realize is that the need is really there. While talking with my friend Ellen told me, wow, my child told me he would like to meet you. He is hearing about the king for the first time, apart from the Bible. So for them, the only place they are talking about kings is the Bible. So for real, they have the opportunity to know that they are kings and queens. So one day they connect with their village, they will regain their status of kings and queens. I'm really elated to be a part of the business. It's really wonderful.
Wow. His Royal Majesty is not only carrying royalty in Africa, but he is an ambassador to the diaspora world. And that is beautiful. That's so beautiful. Okay, to our people in the diaspora, you know what? Come home to become kings and queens. It's not only in the Bible. You can be made kings and queens home. Come and take your stools. Come and take your royalties home. Reconnect back. Reconnect back. On that note, I just want to acknowledge those joining us. Okay, Jones from Spain says, first time I'm hearing about the DNA testing. I think you can help a lot for some special young African Americans to find their roots and feel proud of it. Interesting. Augusta, thank you for joining. Kwame surprise. He says, great submission from His Royal Majesty. Nana Kweku Sasu Amkuma says, wow, this is wonderful. Nana Blessing says, oh yes, I'm getting closer to the king. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm loving this. So, His Royal Majesty, what about the business opportunities? Are these people in the diaspora? Are these our brothers and sisters who are stuck in the diaspora? Are they able to freely work when they reconnect? Are they having that enabling environment to start their business, to run some partnership, and to reintegrate into the system? As part of your program, do you have anything of that sort, policy-wise, to reenact them or just incorporate them back into the societies that they've been traced to? Do you have anything like that for them?
Of course, as I said, it is a highly vibrant political program. Of course, it is important to acknowledge it from the very commencement. Reconnecting African Americans with their roots in Africa means reconnecting the Americas with Africa. So it's a very high political action. Beyond the political action, the very foundation is the cultural action. So for them to regain their identity, once they have regained their identity, they will feel free to start businesses and run businesses either single-handedly or with their African brothers, brothers and sisters. And the approach we have opted for has the peculiarity of not disconnecting them from the Americas. So as I stated a while ago, without losing their property, they will have the possibility to extend their actions in terms of businesses, in terms of cultural reformatting programs, in terms of education. And we have to be very honest. It is a very good opportunity for African Americans in terms of rebranding the cultural profile, maybe to some extent, extending their businesses, but it's a very good opportunity for Africans. So, I think I did not emphasize that particular aspect. During the conference in Kentucky, the program organized by the African Roots and Heritage Foundation, within the perspective of within the framework of the Black History Month, during the conference, what I had to clearly emphasize is also this. We should not forget that the business in which we are is a spiritual business, foundationally. Why a spiritual business? Because there is a thesis we have been propounding. There is a theory we have been propounding, according to which Africans do not have any responsibility in the slave trade process, which is very fake. And if we reason that way, it means enslavers came only from the West, and they perpetrated all the negative actions we know that resulted in what we can know nowadays as having African Americans in the continent. I mean, the global slavery business. The spiritual variable, which is really important, and what kingship is all about, foundationally. If we acknowledge, and we have to do that, and before even speaking to them, I had to first and foremost apologize to them for what we did. Consciously or not, we were also part of the business, even under pressure by enslavers, even if we have been pressurized by enslavers to sell them out. Whatever the case, we still carry the curse of having participated. So it is our duty to acknowledge and apologize, and we will be blessed while blessing our sons and daughters who were lost. And those lost sons and daughters, once we apologize to them, can see our sincerity, our commitment, the purity of our hearts, and then they will fully get back with our blessings, and they will reconnect to us sincerely, and with the necessary blessings, we will absolutely prosper. And if you take a look at what is happening in Israel, we'll realize that the strength of Israel is the diaspora. How can Africa, how can we afford missing the opportunity to capitalize the vibrant, the prosperous, the most intelligent diaspora of the world? It will be very good for them to reconnect with their roots, and it will be very good for Africa to regain what they lost let me tell you something. And those who were sold out was the strongest. They were the most intelligent in most cases. What that was the situation, and we can see what is happening now. So we have to rebrand. We have to rebrand our mind. We have to fix it and fix it in a very clear way in our mind that for having participated, there is a curse. We have to cleanse, to be cleansed off. So it's very, very important. And I told them, and once I apologized to them, I could feel some sort of spiritual transformation, and they opened up to me, telling me exactly what they deeply believe, and that is from there they could ask questions in terms of the global, economic environment, the global political environment, putting very, very profound and tricky question as far as the political functioning of the continent is concerned. And I did realize that most of them do have only the instrumentalized version of African life, which is being circulated by Western media in terms of catastrophes, in terms of whatsoever is not good in the continent. And I was so fortunate to let them know that Africa is the biggest continent on earth, the biggest. And that comprises, in terms of superficie, in terms of space, Europe, China, the United States of America, and many more Western countries for the single Africa. And I let them know that what is presented in the world map is very fake. So they couldn't, the Westerners, allow people to know that Africa is the biggest continent. And I told them they would be very, very surprised, positively speaking. And now that we are talking about it, let me tell you that day after day, people are calling to know more about how to proceed for them to join us and visit Africa. Visit Africa, target specific countries and go there, given the, taking into account the global tracing back of the global slavery itinerary, and taking into account the DNA testing process.
Wow, this is beautiful. A lot of information being shared here by His Royal Majesty. This is lovely. And thank you for doing this. And we all come together and apologize to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. That's our first point of contact to you. And the next one is that we invite you to come back home. Come and take your place. Right, let's want to bring on Professor Diop to also share some few thoughts with us. Prof, I love your part that you always say that when you speak your native language, you reconnect with your ancestors. And this being made known to our sisters and brothers in the diaspora so that they can reconnect with the ancestors because they are speaking the language that the ancestors spoke, that the ancestors understand. How is this reconnection being done? Are they really connecting that world to come back? What are some of your final words you want to share with us?
Yes, I would just like to say, if you look at the word before my name, Mafo, Mafo means queen. So when I was last in Cameroon, I was made the Mafo of the Belang people. So not only are we reconnecting spiritually, we actually are giving duties, because as the first duty of the Mafo, the Belang people got behind me in an initiative for African Languages Week that took place last month, January 24th through the 30th. And the whole entire kingdom got behind in terms of teaching the language, teaching old traditional games to the youth. And they just really took the initiative to heart. So not only do we have an opportunity to reconnect, we have a responsibility in charge to spearhead initiatives and getting the communities involved. So I feel very graced to have been anointed as the Mafo and actually carry out the duties and actually have a kingdom that would respond to my request. So there's much to be done in Africa as well as the diaspora. And this is the starting point. This is point zero, where we're raising awareness and showing the opportunities, and the opportunities are endless. And my final words would simply be, as I always say, as you speak your native language, we in the diaspora get to hear the voices of our ancestors. And we're fulfilling the desires of our ancestors, that Africa may go on to a new glory, realizing its own genius and going forward.
Wow. There's a lot of opportunities to reconnect. So yeah, our final words from His Royal Majesty King Professor Messina. Let's hear from you. Your final words for us. We are really connecting. And then just a quick one before he comes in with his final words. Yes, from the comments here. Oh yes, there's a lot and numerous opportunities. Yes, I can bear witnesses to that. I also connected back and I've been given roles to play. And yes, I feel more part of my people than being away. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And we all support this cause. That's beautiful. Yeah. So before, let's hear from His Royal Majesty. His final words.
Thank you very much. As my final words, I would like to acknowledge with Queen Professor Anita Job that culture is currency. So she developed the concept of culture currency. And it is our duty and our responsibility to definitely fix in our mind that culture is currency. And culture being currency, nowadays, I think there is no other continent in Africa which can boast of having a well-structured and a very consistent cultural patterns. And we have to not only emphasize responsibility in Africa, responsibility among the African American community, but also accountability in Africa for Africans, and self-accountability in the African American community in the US and in other African American community or the global African community in the diaspora. If we fix in our mind those fundamental variables, I mean responsibility and self-accountability, we will be able to reconnect them very, very productively with the African continent. And the other issue is the investment and the output of the commitment of the fundamental, iconic African-American leaders should be capitalized. That's why we are proposing within the framework of the activities of the African Roots and Heritage Foundation, the necessity as far as education is concerned to put in place mechanisms that will help pass the baton to the younger generation, since there is a very critical situation here. The street education is opposed to family education, since in most family it is a single mother educations and children tend to cooperate with street education. So we have a lot to do by letting them know who they are. And for them to know who they are, they should know exactly where they are coming from. For them to know where they are coming from, they should not, I mean, the younger generation, just know about Africa. They have to know about the fights, the good fight that fought the iconic foundational leaders of the African American community. And from there, the roots, I mean, the itinerary of slavery should be traced back. And once traced back, they should be connected directly to their village to regain what they lost. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor. And then His Royal Majesty, together with Mafu Anita Diop, for coming here. We want to say a very big thank you for joining us for this episode. And we are so grateful for having time to spend with us. And as we do always, our hashtag for today's episode is culture is currency. That is our hashtag for today's episode. Culture is currency. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to have you again on another episode where we're going to talk more about these wonderful journeys that you have set or you've set yourself to doing. God bless you all, and we wish you all the best on this diaspora journey to reconnect our brothers and sisters in the diaspora back to their native villages and to pick up from where their ancestors ended up. Thank you so much, and we'll connect with you again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Right. We'll have you sometime soon. Have a nice time. Bye-bye for now. Right. Thank you so much for joining us. And hey, this is it. It has been a wonderful time having His Royal Majesty in the house together with Mafu all the way joining us for today's episode. Yes. And before we do that, before we go, this part is proudly brought to you by Cyber Bells. We're going to have a little bit of cyber tips. And yes, we are in the season of Valentine's celebrations. And yes, again, the threat actors, the bad people are at it again. This is a good season for them to try all the techniques and all their scams that they want to pull up, because it is the season where people are about to celebrate and show love. So they are up with some techniques. Now, this is how they are operating. They are making use of romantic scams. They are impersonating people, picking people's photograph, and then hiding behind them as the people. And then they are trying to connect with people on social media pages. They set up a social media account, and their whole intent is to make sure that they lure people, they impersonate other people, and then they come to your social media pages and try to connect with you. And then they want to start a romantic relationship with you. And that is part of the scams they are putting up. Not only that, they are also putting up shopping scams. This is the moment, this is the time for purchasing of gifts for loved ones. And then they will always come up with some malicious links, and then they will sending it to you that at discount prices. They will mimic your visiting or normally visiting online shops. They will mimic the website, they will mimic the pages, and then they will send you these malicious links for you to click on. And then once you click on it, they execute their malicious software or malwares, and then they're able to steal sensitive information from you, or to steal more important details from your device that you are using. They just come in always. These people are coming in with all techniques to get you. They also come in with phishing scams. They're going to send you emails, messages, and then telling you that they are running promotions, they are having discount packages for you to share with your loved ones, and then they attach malicious attachment. Once you click on that, they have access to your device, or a malware execute and then steal information from you. So be very careful in this season whilst we're celebrating. And these are some of the recommendations that you can have whilst you celebrating or whilst in this season. 1, be careful of unsolicited messages or emails claiming to be from romantic partners. They will first of all starting as establishing a romantic relationship with you, and then from there they will start soliciting for money. They will start soliciting for sensitive information. Be aware of that. And 2, be careful of too good to be true deals this season in respect to packages and then gifts. They're going to come in with all packages and all offers to you. Be very careful about some of these packages that they are going to send to you. 3, do not share personal information with people you don't know. In this season, they're going to come, they're going to pose as people that you might know. But if you don't know them, be sure of not sharing sensitive or personal information with such people. 4, use reputable online marketplace or retailers when purchasing Valentine's gift. Be so sure you can check reviews of people that have used those portals or that have used those marketplaces to purchase items before you transact businesses with these pages or platforms. 5, be careful of online romantic partners who make requests for money or other sensitive information. Be careful this season and make sure that you are safe. You are cyber smart this season. They are always coming at you in different way. Make sure you don't lose your guard in this critical time whilst we are celebrating the month of love, and also it is the Black History Month. Thank you so much for joining, and as I always say, dreams are in level. Make sure you get to the top level of your dream. To meet next time, same time next week on the same platform. Have a good week, and remember that culture is currency. Have a wonderful week. My name is Ambassador Benjamin Oswansa. Thank you for joining me for this episode.